Hey, I'm Atharva. I'm just going to be going over some of the points my partner mentioned and then refuting my opponent's case. So, first of all, my partner mentioned that unions are exploiting their workers. This can be seen by how unions eventually hurt union workers because unionized companies tend to atrophy. For example, non-union Toyota grew while General Motors shrank and eventually went bankrupt. JetBlue and airlines blossomed while unionized TWA and Pan Am went out of business. Unions protect workers all the way to the unemployment line in a way. Unions are also enabling workers because, like my partner mentioned, they favor seniority over competency or skill. So if a company unionizes and they decide that people need to be laid off, they're going to lay off their newest hires instead of choosing who works better. This is also shown in a way that the teachers union hates merit pay and hates private schools, just because then they have to actually dedicate their resources to seeing who works better and who doesn't work better. Now to refute one of my opponent's points, he stated that unions offer better wages. However, unions can only raise wages at companies that have a competitive advantage that permit them to pay higher wages, such as successful R&D projects or long-lasting capital investments. Basically, a lot of unionized companies that show that they're paying higher wages are already paying wages higher than non-unionized companies because they're companies that have higher skilled laborers or companies such as tech companies in Silicon Valleys. Unions, on the other hand, currently, unions unnecessarily bargain for drive up the wages. This has two types of effects. If the cost increases, the firms become less competitive and lose their market share. On the other hand, those firms that are able to increase their price and pass on the cost to these consumers directly fan the fire of inflation, and this leads to a reduction in real wages. Teachers, police, auto workers, and other employees are forced to join unions and forced to pay union dues, like my opponent stated, that are from $500 to $1,000, which is a big chunk of their income. Employees voluntarily banding together to form a union is one thing, but being forced to join, that's something that's very un-American and sort of smells like corruption or communism. Polling actually only shows that 9% of non-union employees want to join a union, while 81% do not. This low support makes organizing new companies really difficult. A lot of the time, companies force employees to join unions, and when they get a no for an answer from an organization, they tend to keep pressuring them, going back, and in some cases even threatening some employees. My opponent also stated that unions offer a voice to a group of workers. However, this is directly refuted to one of our points that say members actually don't have much say in the overall actions of unions. A lot of members have the no vote program, which basically means that although some people don't really get to vote on what the union does, a lot of the times unions end up spending money on politics in campaigns and other actions that don't go towards unions. Some unions hold lotteries, giving away TVs, giving away gifts like that using money that should be going to employees to protect their rights, but instead is going to something far worse. By threatening to stop work if companies don't pay employees, union forces companies to lay off some workers, like I said before. This, again, just lays off new employees. Going back to our case, unions are enabling workers. In short, unions don't have the resource to monitor an individual's performance, and this leads to a lot of disparity in the work of companies reporting versus what they're actually getting. Our fourth point was unions are harmful to the economy, and this is clarified by what I mentioned about the auto union and the United Auto Workers Union. If the demand for a higher pay was not met, the union would strike. Basically, this means that a bunch of the companies shut down, the workers don't have work, and in the end, companies have to raise prices to meet that demand. That leads to them laying off more workers. So in the end, unions actually tend to harm these workers more than help them. Another thing my opponent mentioned was the unions help create these labor laws that protect the workers. While I agree with that point that the unions did help create these labor laws, that was a long time ago, and with those labor laws in place, employers know to follow them. They follow them especially because a lot of employees now have the power to just leave a company and go work for competitors. So employers can't abuse them, can't force them to work overtime, can't force them to do something they don't want to like they used to be able to do. So unions aren't exactly helping them. And for these reasons, I hope you agree with us that a worker should be exempt from having to join a union.